This video is sponsored by Musiversal. When we talk about classic Beatles key changes, we're almost always talking about Lennon and McCartney songs like Penny Lane or Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds. With the 20-odd songs that George Harrison wrote for the Beatles, he was never as trigger happy when it came to modulations. But on the rare occasion that he did choose to include a key change in one of his songs, it would always be something really creative and interesting that would add real depth and dimension to the song. So today we're going to look at 3 examples of George Harrison changing key in a Beatles song. While My Guitar Gently Weeps begins in the key of A minor.
At the floor, and I see it needs sweeping.
But the chorus of While My Guitar Gently Weeps is in the parallel major key of A major. As we approach the chorus, we get this E7 chord, which is the dominant chord in both the key of A major and A minor. As I mentioned, we're currently in A minor, so we would expect this E7 to resolve to the tonic chord of A minor. But instead, George takes this opportunity to resolve us to A major, shifting us to the key of A major. This shift from A minor to A major gives the chorus an uplifting burst of brightness. Shifting from a minor key to the major key always has the effect of opening up a song, but rather than doing the more predictable thing of shifting from A minor to its relative major, C major, George has shifted us to its parallel major. The parallel major is simply the major key built on the same tonic note. So the parallel major of A minor is A major. As we change key here, the tonic note remains the same, but the tonality swings from minor to major. At the end of the chorus, we then shift back to A minor, ready for the next verse. And just like at the start of the chorus, this is achieved with an E7 chord, the dominant chord, perfect cadencing us to the new tonic chord of A minor. This shift back to minor plunges us into a darker, more mournful sound, perfectly illustrating the lyrics of the song. A George Harrison song that features a similar key change to While My Guitar Gently Weeps is Something. Something begins in the key of C major, but for the chorus we modulate to the key of A major. The key change arrives almost as a surprise because it subverts our expectations. At the end of the first verse, we get this guitar melody that resolves us back onto the tonic chord of C major. But at the end of the second verse, rather than this melody landing us onto C major like it did last time, it instead lands us onto the new tonic chord of A major. This shift to A major gives the chorus a bright open sound. This is because A major has 3 more sharps than C major, so shifting to A major makes the music sound like it's been lifted, raised up. Now at the end of Something's chorus, we modulate back to the original key of C major for the next verse. And just like the key change we had going into the chorus, this key change out of the chorus also comes as something of a surprise. The chorus begins with this 8-bar phrase which wraps up with this G chord resolving to A major, and then this descending chromatic line. This sets up our expectations, so when we hear this phrase again, we expect it to resolve once again to A major. But this time the G chord instead pivots us back to C major. This change works really smoothly, as even though we now have a C chord here instead of the A major chord we got last time, the melody doesn't actually have to change because the melody note of E features in both the chords of A major and C major. So in both instances it's just as harmonious. The shift back to C major is then hit home by this descending line which, rather than climbing down chromatically from A like it did last time, descends down the C major scale, easing our ears into the C major tonality so it's not a shock when we then are in C major for the next verse. Something's key change is actually quite similar to While My Guitar Gently Weeps. In While My Guitar Gently Weeps, we shift from A minor to A major. In Something, we are shifting from C major to A major. And as you can see, C major and A minor use the exact same notes. They are relative keys, two sides of the same key. So both of these shifts have a similar effect because we're introducing the same number of sharps to the key. We're just coming at it from a slightly different angle. The last example that we're looking at today was actually the first occasion that George Harrison used a key change in one of his Beatles songs. It's If I Needed Someone. If I Needed Someone begins in A mixolydian. A mixolydian is the same as A major, but with the 7th degree, the G sharp, lowered to a G natural.
And I guess I'd be with you, my friend, if I needed
The middle 8 of the song, though, modulates to the key of B minor.
Had you come some other day, then it might not have been.
Now, this move to B minor barely even feels like a key change, and instead feels like we've just moved to a different space within the same key. And this is because A mixolydian and B minor both use the same notes. They are relative keys, so shifting between the two introduces near to no friction at all, just like a typical shift from relative major to minor. In fact, although I've used a change in key signature here to show where the shifting key is, it would probably make more sense just to transcribe this whole song with a 2-sharp key signature, a D major key signature, as both A mixolydian and B minor are modes of D major. Now I should note that here George is actually using a variation of the B minor scale. He's using the B harmonic minor scale. Harmonic minor is exactly the same as our regular natural minor scale, however the 7th degree has been raised, as we can see here in the melody and in this F sharp major chord, which would usually be an F sharp minor chord. The harmonic minor compared to the natural minor scale has a better sense of resolution to the tonic. It's much clearer in harmonic minor where the key center is. And this works really well here because in this brief key change, the use of harmonic minor makes it clear that B minor is, at least for now, our new tonic chord.
Had you come some other day, then it might not have been like this.
At the end of the middle 8, we shift back to A mixolydian for the next verse. And this is once again really smooth. After resolving our current tonic chord of B minor, we then get this E7 chord that perfect cadences us back to the new tonic chord of A major.
But you see how I am too much in love. Carve your number.
This modulation is super smooth because this B minor chord is acting as a pivot chord. A pivot chord is a chord that works well in both the current key and the destination key, so it can be used as a point of transition, a point of pivot between the two keys. B minor is the tonic chord in the key of B minor, but it's also the 2 chord in the destination key of A. So this chord effectively has two functions here: the resolving tonic chord for B minor and the 2 chord for the upcoming key of A mixolydian, simultaneously resolving the old key and giving us a clear 2-5-1 perfect cadence into the new key.
Too much in love. Carve your number on my wall.
As you've probably noticed, today I've used recreations of the Beatles songs rather than the original tracks, because if I were to use the originals for more than about 4 seconds, this video would have got automatically blocked. But what you may not have noticed is that I've actually made all of today's recreations with the help of this video's sponsor, Musiversal. Musiversal allows you to hire professional session players remotely. They have an impressive roster of musicians, including everything from vocalists, brass players, strings players, woodwind, pianists, guitarists and drummers. So whether you want to record an entire track from the ground up, or just add some extra instrumentation to an existing song, all you have to do is head to musiversal.com, choose your player or players, and book a recording session. You'll be in a Zoom call with the musicians as they record, so you can give them feedback on their performance and discuss the arrangement. And at the end of the session, you'll promptly receive the high quality recorded audio in the format of your choice. Musiversal also offer pre-production, arrangement and mixing and mastering services. so you can actually take a track all the way from conception to completion with Musiversal. I had a really great time working with Jacob to record the vocals for these Beatles recreations, and the whole process was super slick and super enjoyable. Sign up with the link below and start turning your ideas into a musical reality today. And as always, a massive thanks goes to everyone who supports me on Patreon, including the names you see on screen right now, and Andre Sainz Diaja, Andy Deacon, Andrew Brown, Andrew Sussman, Austin Barrett, Austin Russell, Bob McKinstry, Whitney Parker, Cameron Allvilla, Colin Aiken, Chris Cabal, Christopher Ryan, David Rivers, Donald Howard, Dr. Darren Wicks, Elena Skorchenko, Eugene Leroy, FD Hodor, Greg Kabowski, Ilamola Toner, Hamish Brocklebank, Hernick Kutcher, Hugo Miller, Ivan Pang, Jake Fisher, James Ko, J.A. Kokensparger, John Dye, Josh Sanderlin, Justin Vigor, Lee Lauritsen, Mark Ziegenhagen, Max O'Keefe, Melody Composer Squared, Melanie Schonert, Michael Vivian, Nancy Gillard, Nathan Lawrence, Nathaniel Park, Paul Muller, Paul Pazel, Peter Dunphy, Richard Pride, Roger Clay, John Kennedy, Steve Daly, Stephen Lazaro, Tim Beaker, Homer Aharoni, Trisha Adams, Tim Payne, Victor Levy, Vidad Flowers, Vladimir Kodakov, Volti, and Waylon Fairbanks.